Hi, I'm Dan McCoy, and this is Dan Traveling. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about our Oregon coast trip, which was fantastic, but I'll show you some pictures and videos, but I will say this: there are no pictures and no videos that will ever describe for you what the beauty is out on the West Coast, and especially with the hiking amongst giant redwoods and driving up the coast. So here's what I learned from our trip, where we started out in San Francisco and we rented a car and we drove up the Oregon coast. But before getting to Oregon, we had a couple of stops, and one was at the Coppola Winery. There are no billboards up there, at least in that area, so we pulled off just for a stop, and there it was. So we decided to visit it. It was pretty cool. We went through the big giant drive-through tree, or Chandler's tree. You got to do that. Then on to Arcata, where we stayed. Arcata is a really cool town. Humboldt University is there, and a famous jewelry maker, Yachats, and we were able to go by there and see them making jewelry, which was also very awesome. Then we went hiking in the Redwood Park, and here's what I know about that. Janet and I are here at the Redwood National Forest, which is insane. The pictures won't describe it, but we're here at Lost Man Creek Trail because there's supposed to be a UNESCO World Heritage marker up this trail, so we're going to see if we can find it.
Fuzzy green.
Oh, it's hard to imagine how just ginormous these trees are. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, there it is.
We think we have found it. What does it say? World treasure. Trucks loaded with massive timbers once rumbled down the service road through the forest. Today, this redwood habitat is protected as one of the largest old-growth forests in the world. At the spot in 1982, officials from around the world dedicated Redwood National Park as an internationally recognized World Heritage Site. Other heritage sites include the Great Wall of China, the Taj Mahal, and the Great Pyramid. These unique cultural and natural places are considered precious resources of outstanding universal value to humankind. Oh, what unfortunate dress. When you're driving up the coast, you can see elk by the dozens just laying on the side of the road. When you hike in the redwood, there's nothing like it, and there's just nothing like it in the world. The redwoods are fantastic, and I urge you to go see them for yourself. They're huge. They're beyond huge. I can't describe them for you. You just have to go see them. It is wonderful, and the ferns are gigantic as well. So hiking in the redwood forest has to be one of my favorite memories of traveling anywhere in the world. We went on to Crescent City, but before that we stopped in Clam, which is where the giant Paul Bunyan and Babe the blue ox is, and they had just fixed Paul. Apparently his head was being repainted or something, so he was very nice and new and looked great. So anyway, on to the Oregon coast. Here's what you should know. The southern part of Oregon is the best views. Highway 101, it runs right along the water. It is amazing. It's just beyond words. It's amazing. We went through Brookings, and then we stopped in Gold Beach. Now in Gold Beach, we stayed at a Motel 6 or something, mostly small hotels out there. But it was new, it was remodeled, it was clean. And in Gold Beach, we went to a seafood place downtown where we found that Ernest Borgnine used to come up there in his school bus and do salmon fishing along the Rogue River. We hiked 9 miles, well, we didn't hike 9 miles, we drove and then hiked to the largest Myrtlewood tree in all of Oregon. Gold Beach was a really cool place. You should stop. Then we went on to Port Orford, and they call this the Banana Belt because There's this famous lighthouse there, Cape Blanco Lighthouse, where the Japanese flew over it and bombed Oregon in World War II. But at the lighthouse, it's really cold, but down in Port Orford, it's really warm, so they call it the Banana Belt. Anyway, we stopped there and we learned that boysenberry is a berry. It's kind of like a blackberry that it comes from the area, and they make boysenberry syrup, which on top of the most wonderful French toast in the world, we got at the cafe, Paradise Cafe in Oregon, at Port Orford. So we went up to Coos Bay after we went to the Cape Blanco Lighthouse. We went up to Coos Bay and the House of Myrtlewood, and the young lady there gave us a tour and talked to us about making myrtlewood. So here's a clip of that. I hope you enjoy.
So here's the beginning of the tour. Here we have just like little samples of what the log looks like before.
On the day we visited, they weren't actually working in the shop, but Miss Martinez was kind enough to go ahead and give us a tour and show us where they make these world famous myrtlewood bowls and golf clubs and various objects. So they were all very beautiful. These Myrtlewood golf clubs, or putter clubs heads, are shipped all over the world, and they're revered by golfers everywhere.
He is Ray Martinez. Some of the stuff out there is actually signatured. So if you see a bowl or yeah.
How cool.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a whole wall of signature series of my dad's work, and then that little display right there in front of the windows, my dad's work, and then the bowls on the wall here, you'll find some stuff.
And lastly, for a while at least, money did grow on trees. During the Great Depression, North Bend, Oregon issued Myrtlewood scrip after the town bank closed. The scrip is still redeemable today.
This is a lot like my wood shop.
No.
After leaving Coos Bay, we went on to Florence, and we just stayed the night in Florence at the Lighthouse Inn, which, at one time it was probably a great inn, and it's starting to have a little wear and tear. In downtown Florence, they had a great seafood restaurant we ate at, and you could sit right there on the water and watch ships come in. Of course, it was a rainy night when we were there, so it was a good break. The next day, we did one of my most favorite things that I've ever done anywhere, and that was to go tide pooling. We went tide pooling in Yachats.
Yachat.
If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. Tide pooling is you get a guide of high and low tides, and you wait for low tide where you can walk out, and wherever it exposes all of the rocks and the formation. And I saw like starfish and
Like walls of mussel and
things I can't even pronounce the name of, but we were able to walk out and see all this life that lives on the shore. It's just amazing. So here's a couple pictures of that. Yachats. We also went to the Sea Lion Cave, which is you take a 200-foot elevator through solid rock down to see the world's largest sea lion cave. It's kind of kitschy and touristy, but it's pretty cool. So I have to admit, sea lions are awesome. Please, no flash. Let's see, we went to Lincoln City. Lincoln City was one of our favorite stays. On the way to Lincoln City, we stopped, and there were some really friendly squirrels. Oh, it was Depoe Bay before Lincoln City. There were some really cool squirrels at Seal Rock Park. they're very friendly. People feed them, so.
That was pretty cool to watch.
We went to Lincoln City. The hotel was great. It was like an apartment, really, and it looked over the cliff, and the whole wall was glass, so we could watch the sunset every night. It was or rise, set. It was beautiful. I forgot which ocean I was on.
I'll just shut up and let you watch it while you listen to this groovy disco music in the background.
And then we went up to the, drove up to the Tillamook cheese factory, which was really cool, and we got to watch them. And here's a clip of that. Wow. Then after Tillamook, we went to Garibaldi, and it's just a bay town. Saw the train, and on the way back, we stopped at Clatsop, Oregon, which is where Haystack Rock is. So, and I'll try to put up some extra pictures of things maybe I've forgotten on my list of what I learned in Oregon. But I do know this: Oregon is the most incredible place in the world, and you owe it to yourself to go if you can. Go see the redwoods, go see the coast, go see all of it. It is beautiful. The food is delicious. The people are friendly. Can't say enough about Oregon.
The best shopping town in Oregon that we found has it all. It has Lotto's Fused Glass, made in Oregon, the Oregon Oyster Farm, Jamara Jewelers, Windrift Gallery. That's just to mention a few. There's even a Peerless Puffin. The local sea lions will even entertain you the whole time you're there. You guessed it, it's Newport, Oregon. Now, we've traveled all the way up the East Coast through Rhode Island and Maine and Massachusetts, and we have eaten chowder everywhere. But nothing tastes as delicious as the chowder from this wonderful restaurant in Depoe Bay, Gracie's Sea Hag Restaurant. Perfect name, too. And yes, that is a bunch of butter in the middle of it. Yum. Breakfast in Oregon, we've already mentioned it. It is definitely the Paradise Cafe in Port Orford. Awesome. The best meal or the best lunch or dinner that we had was in Newport, Oregon at the Local Ocean Seafood Bayfront Restaurant. We had these grilled albacore tuna kebabs. Oh my, they were incredible. The Ester was our favorite hotel in Lincoln City, Oregon, mostly for the view and the fact that it was a lot like an apartment, and it was priced reasonable. The most unusual food, best unusual food, Barnacle Bill's in Lincoln City wins hands down with its skewered, dried, and smoked oyster. Okay, now I'm done.